Startups specializing in AI, machine learning, and robotics have contributed significantly to innovation in these fields over the last few years. Now, according to a report by PwC India, which is titled as Advanced Artificial Intelligence for Growth, Leveraging AI and Robotics for India's Economic Transformation, it indicates that artificial intelligence startups in India are venturing into multiple industries such as e-commerce, healthcare, education, financial services, retail, logistics, and many more. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Insight podcast. This is Priya Dayalani, your host for today. Now, as India has become a center for data science for several global firms, startups are looking at the opportunity to leverage local data to build solutions for India's problems. As more entrepreneurs emerge, investors are not far behind as well. So, today we are going to have a very insightful discussion on how startups can benefit from AI as well as the big players in the market. Whereas, on the other hand, how big players can also grow and have an effective collaboration with startups. So, today let's welcome Ravi Jain, Director, Server Solutions, India South Asia, IBM, and Afaq Siddiqui, President, Enterprise Business and Global Strategic Alliances at Intense Technologies Limited. Hi, both of you. How are you doing?
Hi Priya, I'm doing good, and it's a pleasure to be here on this podcast.
Hey, thank you, Priya. Thanks for the introduction. It's wonderful to be here. I look forward to an exciting session together along with Ravi.
Definitely, this seems to be like a more an exciteful session. So let's kickstart as soon as possible. Now, earlier in the introduction, I spoke about how artificial intelligence is being leveraged by startups in India, and we're trying to solve some crucial problems that India is facing. Now, cloud computing has made AI and machine learning accessible to many startups, something that has become even more apparent during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, startups whose employees have to work from home could tap on these new technologies to keep operations running without a hitch. Now, this is like a gist of what is the scenario of startups in the space of AI and how these startups are using different technologies to survive in the new normal. So, my first question goes to both of you, and that is, how is the Indian startup ecosystem currently evolving, and what are your views on it? So, Ravi, if you can take this ahead.
Okay, so Priya, I will give you the perspective of from IBM side when we were working with software developers, ISVs, which are the independent software vendors, and companies who were providing digital solutions. What we have seen in the last about 5 to 6 years is there is a good amount of technology which is being utilized to bring innovative solutions for various industries, whether it is telecom, whether it is banking, insurance, retail, e-commerce, you name it, right? And for the time being, when I talk about this, I'm going to exclude the B2C kind of startups, and I'll focus predominantly on uh, organizations or companies who are providing solutions for enterprises or businesses at large. Uh, if I go back in time, somewhere around 2017 or late 2016, early 2017, uh, the whole dialogue with customers or clients was uh, this artificial intelligence as a technology is good. I like it, but where are the use cases, right? Where are they? And at the same time, there was, I mean, a number of solutions which were available, which were being developed, but they were not finding the right end user, right? And they were not getting deployed. So, and the term that we use is in production. So, and we didn't have those solutions in production. And over a period of time, we have seen these solutions getting deployed, and the startups have really become a part of the IT strategy for large customers or clients. So they know that the existing set of applications lack certain feature and functionality, uh, and they can go and tap onto the expertise which is available from the ISVs and the solution vendors and use that to deliver business value, right? So one clear observation is that we have seen adoption and adoption for real life business environments where clients have seen value. As far as pandemic goes, what it has done is temporarily it probably put some brakes on certain digital solutions, but at the same time the spotlight was on how do I keep my lights on, how do I do remote management, how do I do remote access, how do I make sure that my products and offerings are available to the client. So a set of offerings or a set of solutions really came into spotlight, and they actually accelerated the entire digital transformation, which was driven by artificial intelligence and open hybrid cloud. So I won't say it was like a smooth acceleration. Pandemic did disrupt a lot of things in between for the clients and for the solution providers, but at a broad level, it is getting deeper. It is getting much deeper than what it was 3 years back or 2 years back. So this probably sums up my understanding of the ecosystem here.
Great, Afaq. So can we have your views on this?
Certainly. I think, thank you, Ravi, for setting the context, and that was very well articulated in terms of, how the entire system is evolving and what are the challenges, what kind of breaks that have come in between, and what are the factors at play. I would like to take this, question from a more generic standpoint, and let me also kind of take a step back and also give you some things from a slightly different perspective. So if you look at it, India currently houses the world's third largest startup ecosystem, with 38 firms being valued over $1 billion. And as we know, these are unicorns. Even during the pandemic, there was 12 such unicorns that were created. So there is no doubt that India is producing a set of startup success stories. No doubt about that. So to give you an example, if you looked at the Indian startup scenario, we are all aware of BigBasket, right? The online grocery platform. So BigBasket joined the Unicorn Club in 2019. Today, it is backed by the Tata Group, having received a capital infusion of nearly $200 million. But that brings us to the point that, as Ravi was also stating, that enterprises need to work and partners need to work with with the startups. So why did Tata invest in BigBasket? So because one of the primary reasons, it's India's largest e-grocery player, and with millions of users which are there, Tata and BigBasket could collaborate and use each other's database and upsell, cross-sell. This is where things become really, really important. This collaborative aspect, which was appreciated by a conglomerate like Tata and also a startup like BigBasket, right? This is something very, very important. But is that sufficient? Is that enough? You also need, this ecosystem also needs, as I said, let me take a step back. You also need VCs and large corporations investing in startups. We are seeing a lot of that. In the past decade, we have seen that if you look at 2000, early 2000, it was said that getting a startup or being a startup was more a gamble rather than a real strategy. Right now, it is like it is looked at like these are the game changers. And in 2016, the entry of Reliance was a high point for India's digital plans. And we all know that within 83 days, they reached a subscriber base of 50 million, and today they have close to 450 million subscribers. All this has been enabled by the digital customer onboarding solutions provided by Intense Technologies, right? So leveraging our AI, machine learning, and RPA capabilities, we were able to cut down the customer acquisition cycle from days to hours and then to minutes without compromising on regulatory mandates. Similarly, through our other cutting-edge communication management solutions, we transform the way that they interact with their customers. Today, they send anywhere between a staggering 73 billion to about 180 billion communications annually. And those are some numbers, right? And the world's largest startup, as Reliance Jio wants to call itself, it came into the market to increase the digital footprint in India. But that wasn't the only thing happening. with the entire new digital ecosystem being created consisting of devices, free Wi-Fi, broadband, etc., Jio triggered a complete data revolution. They collected data, captured insights, usage patterns to create customized business plans, and subscriber plans, etc. The Jio project created the greatest digital adoption, and also this was an unprecedented thing as far as the country's untapped big data is required. These are startup stories that we all find inspiring. It's important to understand that this can only happen when corporates, large established corporate partners, collaborate. This allows the startup to scale fast and fill up the gap as per which the technology expertise that they have. Many large organizations, especially in the technology domain, are collaborating with startups to leverage capabilities and explore new business avenues and accelerate innovation, as we have seen from some of the examples that we had earlier. You take, for example, for IBM, to begin with, they have their own startup program aimed at helping startups thrive and advance their growth. Now, this is just related to the fact that the more we invest in the success of startups, it paves the way for innovation and new growth opportunities for all. Right? So that's where I would want to kind of take this conversation to. And when established brands work with selected startups, they help them align and access go-to-market activities from the point of view and bring that translate into cost saving, promotions in established market, faster customer acquisition, access to expert mentors, and of course networking opportunities with enterprise clients. So all in all, we can state that the digital and startup ecosystem will bring together enterprises across industry domains. And even as the COVID-19 pandemic, as Ravi also spoke about, how it changed things. We saw the rise of testing laboratories, new technologies integrating with healthcare to tackle the pandemic created situation. So that's what I feel is where how things are evolving from a startup ecosystem perspective.
Definitely. I think with the growth of more and more startups, what we should be looking forward is to how different technologies can be leveraged both by startups and big players, and how eventually we want to create a society where technology, well, definitely it is now something that's integrated into everyday lives. But of course, the future should be such that it eventually helps in the upliftment of society. Now, since we're talking about startups and different technologies that are being leveraged, so Ravi, my next question for you is, what role IBM plays when working with Indian startups? And also, I'll join one more question with that, and that would be, if when you're talking about the role of IBM, what are the different solutions IBM is working on when you guys are working with AI startups?
Okay, so Priya, when I talk about what role IBM can play, there are various things that we are doing. So I'll give you a few examples, and that you will probably be able to relate to. So there could be developers, startups who are in the process of developing a solution and they need tools, right? I mean, that's like a basic set of things to build their own solutions or software, right? They need infrastructure, right? Which is the servers, it could be middleware, and there are many other components which get inside that. So IBM has an extensive developer program in which developers can leverage some of the IBM technologies to build their own solutions, which they can take to the clients. And this also is completely enabled through cloud, because cloud is one of the most acceptable forms of delivery of those solutions and services. Having said that, there are other things when it comes to interacting or providing solutions for large enterprises or businesses, is concerned. And one of the things that we are doing is to create a community of digital startups. Now, why do we say a community is required? See, this is a constant evolution which is happening around digital transformation for various industries. So a huge amount of learning is involved as far as organizations are concerned, and even the solution providers are concerned. So it becomes a natural playground to have a community where we have clients, we have IBM there, we have the ISVs who can collaborate to bring in the next solution for a business problem. As the adoption of AI started to increase, there were various questions with respect to the usage of AI for business. Okay, there were regulatory things which came into came forward. There were biases which came forward, right? And these kind of things are not solved by one entity alone, right? There are a lot of in lot of situations we see different players come up with a part of the solution, and as a whole we can come up with something which is more acceptable to the organizations and the regulators or the industry at large. So we work extensively in this community, and we try to make sure that these digital solutions are finally deployed by organizations, right? So in a way, sometimes it is playing the role of a sort of exchange, because we have been working with top businesses across India, South Asia for many years now. So it is like bringing them best of breed solutions. At the same time, having worked with those clients, we understand the problems that they are trying to solve, and we try to solve them with the help of the community that we have created, right? So this works on both sides. At the same time, there is a good amount of learning which happens for all the players in this community when we go and deliver these solutions. So that has been our approach, Priya.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for sharing such detailed information on how IBM is working with Indian startups and also the different solutions that IBM is leveraging to help India's AI startups. So my next question is for Rafaq. Now, since it's all about how startups can benefit from big players in terms of growth in technology sphere as well as in the overall development. India's AI for all strategy focuses on responsible AI, building solutions at scale with an intent to make India the AI garage of the world, a trusted nation to which the world can outsource AI related work. And AI solutions built in India will serve the world definitely if we follow that strategy rigorously. Now, I believe that you have worked in collaboration with IBM, and your startup has been a one such startup that has leveraged the power of IBM and its key solutions and role. So we want to know, how has this collaboration helped you in catering to the needs of your clients?
Thank you so much, Priya. That was a really good question, and I think what I would state at the outset is that Ravi has hit the nail on the head, and in fact he was, if I might say, he was a little modest in terms of the way the IBM has contributed to the success of many startup organizations. So if you really look at it, every ecosystem or partnership is built on trust, mutual dependence, and a common vision. And if these are taken care of, the value delivered can be immense, and the opportunities to explore virtually limitless. And this is where IBM has been a trusted partners in our association thus far, right? So I want to lay special emphasis on that. I've seen the entire IBM team led by Ravi, and also the extended IBM team, various other departments which have worked in collaboration with Intense. And this has helped us to meet enterprise scale and also to meet the customer demands, right? So if you really look at, if I want to kind of come down to the specifics of it, we've had instances where industry intelligence teams of IBM have given us an in-depth analysis of banks, and the way we could collaborate with them and work with them for the various cutting edge solutions that we have, whether on the customer communication side or on the customer onboarding or other customer journeys, including the AI analytics or customer insight solutions. And this has been a really significant value add. I think that's one area that Ravi did touch upon, but I think very briefly I wanted to kind of bring this to the fore. uh, so this is one. And then, while the customer needs an end-to-end technology stack to improve performance, IBM, with its contribution of servers to test and scale our solutions, was really, really invaluable. The joint consulting on the tech stack helped us improve the performance from 1x to 4x, and eventually we have a target and a plan to kind of take it all the way to 1.8x. Now, this is a very, very tangible way of looking at how we have benefited, apart from the market intelligence and the connects, right? So while this entire digital ecosystem is being nurtured, there are more and more opportunities that each party has contributed, each partner has contributed to the other. In some cases, it is Intense which has contributed to IBM, and in the other cases, it is IBM which is contributed to the to our success. So all in all, what we see is that this is a relationship which we feel has got tremendous potential. This ecosystem also has got tremendous potential, because if we continue to build things the way we are, I think the possibilities are limitless, right? So I'll give you some more examples of the collaboration of Intense's collaboration with IBM, right? Intense has the best of technology and software solutions, and IBM Power is probably the best hardware server in its class. So that's where we stand. So when two bests meet together, obviously the customer, the ecosystem, the both partners, they benefit. Today we see that enterprises, the way they interact with the customers has changed. Gone are the days when you would receive a static communication. Now you have interactive statements and video statements, which are also personalized, which and also that means that it means better service to the customers with improved communication, fewer calls to the customer support, and the reduced operational cost. And if you really look at it, this is really, really invaluable to the end customer. This is essentially what they are looking for: better operational efficiency, better CX, and also to address the cost KPI. So working together with IBM has enabled us to do all of that, right? And to give an example, we've also worked with IBM on services and solutions which are very important for citizens. And those kind of solutions, if I might say so, this partnership has benefited the citizens of India as well. So that's the kind of partnership that we are talking about, right? So if you look at it from the client's perspective, they are able to meet their SLAs, the customer-centric tailored messages, notifications, etc. All of those are essentially taken care of, and that's the benefit that both organizations have reaped, and so has the customer.
Thanks, Afaq. I think it was great, and you have been very kind with your words for us and for IBM. One of the things which I wanted to add here, Priya, is if you look at it broad category, like Afaq was mentioning, customer experience is one big thing which is driving digital solutions across industries. Okay, this is extremely important aspect for not just retaining clients, but to make sure that the clients are presented with the right offerings from the business side. So this has been important. At an efficiency level, yes, whatever processes were repetitive, they obviously get a huge benefit, efficiency benefit by adopting artificial intelligence, machine learning, or deep learning. And the future is something which is definitely cutting away from efficiency related things and getting into more of how well you are segmenting your customer set, how well you are taking decisions which are not just based on historical data, but are more aware about the current context and are able to deliver more revenues and more profits for businesses. So, and that is where a lot of work we are also doing with Intents in our banking space as well. Not just telecom, but yes, banking also is a big play for us.
Mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah, and I think very much agree with your point that customer experience is such a crucial thing today, because everything today revolves around the customer. Like probably why we are here today, or why IBM is here, why Intense is here, is to provide and deliver services to customer. There's a reason why we are here. So I think customer experience is such a thing, and when we are leveraging different technologies, like we have chatbots, we have RPA powered chatbots, we have NLP powered chatbots, and there are so many other different technologies that are actually helping us to make sure that the service or the experience that we wish or we aim to give to our customers is cutting edge, and they are relentlessly with us, and making sure that we are trying to convert not just a customer base but having a loyal customer base. So I think that's a very important point that you have highlighted, Ravi. Thank you so much for that. So moving ahead, I think small enterprises or even startups, for that matter, will begin to use the tried and tested platforms in innovative ways. Now, while startups will gain a competitive edge in capturing the AI market, the larger enterprises will provide them the infrastructure for building innovative services. It is somewhat similar to the business model followed when the cable technology was introduced. So, startups leveraging AI technology for industry verticals such as agriculture, manufacturing, or just like Ravi, you mentioned, banking or telecom are bound to be successful. So, Ravi, we would want to know, how are you using technologies like AI and ML to boost this collaboration?
So, Priya, let me tell you how things have evolved, right? And I'm talking purely from an infrastructure, hardware infrastructure standpoint. Uh, as these solutions become more and more sophisticated, you need to process them even faster, right? Now, you mentioned about chatbots, right? It is probably on every 4 out of 5 websites or apps that you visit, right? You will find a chatbot, and you know that there is not a physical person on the other side, but there is a machine which is giving you answers, and we are fine with that. However, your experience of chatbots is not same across across the websites or across the apps, and the reason is even on the chatbots, right? Are they just looking up on a repository of questions and giving you answers? Are they aware about the context? And like when you mentioned NLP, if you're talking to a machine, is the machine aware about sarcasm, right? Can it understand sarcasm? Can it understand why you are stressing upon when you're talking on a complete sentence? You stressed on certain words, so is it able to understand it? Now, when these kind of nuances start coming into these processing, which is done by AI and machine learning and deep learning, a huge amount of performance is required to be delivered by the systems. So we have brought in a lot of innovation in how a hardware would handle that request coming in from the application side. And I really don't want to get into the deep technical part of it, but this is something that we are driving, which helps the solutions to deliver the desired business outcome. Like Afaq was mentioning, right? If going from 1x to 4x efficiency to 8x efficiency, if that efficiency improvement is not of the magnitude of 6x or 8x, right, the businesses don't take notice of such solutions, right? So unless and until we show something which is very transformational in nature to deliver these business outcomes, it really doesn't get deployed so easily, because everybody then starts looking at new technology as a cost rather than a way of improving efficiency or improving profits. So our play there is to make sure that we are able to provide better handling of these workloads, better performance, reduce total cost of ownership. This enables more and more AI and ML based solutions to run and to run in production, to deliver what they are supposed to, and this eventually enhances more collaboration with the solution providers. So it is not like we just decided to collaborate one day and we just started going to the market. It is about how do we create value for the businesses and then go and deliver that together.
Definitely, I think when we are talking about such collaboration, we really wish to deliver value and not something just for the sake of collaboration. So I think that was quite insightful, Ravi. Thank you for sharing such useful insights. Now, moving ahead, if we talk about technologies like artificial intelligence, it basically derives a strength from data. And while IBM, or for that matter, like if I propose an example of the collaboration that IBM and Intense Technologies has, there are other factors that also come into picture. For example, the government is in the process of putting in place a strong legal framework governing the data of Indians. The legislation stems from a desire to become a highly secure and ethical AI powerhouse. And of course, India wants to build a data rich and a data driven society, as data through AI, which offers limitless opportunities to improve society. It empowers individuals and increases the ease of doing business as well. So this was one such factor that we can consider. But my next question is for Afaq, and we would like to know that while this collaboration is in place, how it has helped you or your clients, for that matter, in reducing cost and improving efficiencies using AI.
Thank you so much, Priya. That was again a very, very important question. So while we work on, the objectives of CX and also the KPIs related to operational efficiency, at the same time, the cost is also extremely important. The cost KPI is also very important. As I touched upon the aspects, briefly earlier, let me elaborate on that also a little bit. So today, as Ravi was stating, we have voice assistants, and we have chatbots, and we have voice bots, and we have digital payment enablers in call center. The speed at which you are able to do this, and at what cost are you able to do it, becomes very, 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 very critical, right? It's all about faster time to money, and faster time to money is equal to reduced cost, and also bringing efficiency from other aspects, like as I said earlier, and Ravi kind of reinforce that. How do you go from that 1x to 4x to the 6x and to 8x? How do you bring about that transformation? So once the client realizes that together this partnership is able to do that, he automatically sees that there is a cost advantage. Something which would have cost him an arm and a leg perhaps can be accomplished at virtually maybe a 10% of that price, or maybe a 20% of that price. So that we have seen those kind of efficiency come in. So huge amount of data can be crunched. So today, as AI continues to proliferate, we in our partnership with IBM experience that working with our AI powered engine on the IBM Power 9 stack, it intelligently optimizes authors complex contents for customer communication, right? So something which would have taken 10 or 15 different people eyeballing that thing, it can be achieved through the massive compute and power that the stack enables us. So in our one of our engagement with a leading bank, our analytics tool and the automation ensured that there's consistency of messaging, brand alignment, and obviously improved customer experience across various segments and stakeholders, both inside and outside the organization. Sometimes we look at customer experience only from the point of view of an external customer, but I would like to touch upon the fact that internal customers, and organization, one person maybe a customer to another customer, and that customer experience is also extremely important. So we focus on that, and IBM's stack kind of gives us a lot of advantage because of that, and it reduces the cost while improving efficiency for the client, right? And that's exactly how an ecosystem is supposed to work, and we are continuously upgrading technologies to enhance customer acquisition, customer support with the personalization through artificial intelligence. So the bank actually could optimize the IT budget significant, very, very significantly. At Intense, we have stepped our own digital offering that we bring to our clients that leverages many different strategies. Let's say, for example, the digital onboarding. One of the things that we use is, one of the technologies that we use is using facial recognition or a video KYC, the OCR engine. The IPM stack essentially forms the backbone of all of these endeavors. While we may have the technology and forward engineering capabilities out there in our organization, the IBM stack actually forms the backbone of that, right? And at the onboarding level, again, the AI and ML capabilities add immense value to the entire KYC process. For example, as I mentioned, the image recognition feature can verify documents by matching and scanning various sources to evaluate the customer's KYC risk score, etc. Right? And the data can also then seamlessly be transported to the customer onboarding system. Another key aspect of AI is the ability to auto tag individual content objects from various inputs, including print streams, PDFs, Word documents, and from various other kinds of input sources, right? So we believe that, in order to be consistent and relevant contributor to an exciting future together, we have to build upon this partnership and ecosystem together, and we already benefited from this, and we have no doubts in our mind that we will continue to benefit from this relationship from a cost perspective as well.
Well, definitely, Afaq, and thank you so much for actually going to the grassroots level and helping our listeners and also me understand that how this collaboration is helping through various examples that you have been giving. So I think that that's actually helping us understand the power of this collaboration and how other startups can also collaborate with IBM or, for that matter, other big players to make sure that we are creating a ripple effect and creating an economy where technology is more accepted rather than having criticisms, or like I mentioned, that how government is trying to govern the data in terms of making sure that the data or the technology that we are using is ethical and highly secure. So as AI is working towards and is making sure that we are having a digital inclusion in India, it is also having a ripple effect on economic growth and prosperity. Now, analysts predict that AI can help add up to $957 billion to the Indian economy by 2035. And the opportunity for AI in India is colossal, as is the scope for its implementation. So I believe by 2025, data and AI can add over $500 billion and almost 20 million jobs to the Indian economy. Now, these numbers are huge, and I think that's a huge impact that probably we can have in India. So, my last question for both of the speakers would be: what are your views on the future of the Indian startup ecosystem? So, I guess this time I would request Afaq to take this further.
Sure. Thank you so much, Priya. So I would state that India's startup scene has received a substantial boost in recent years due to specific policy interventions by the government. This focused effort in creating a stronger ecosystem for emerging entrepreneurs has been very, very helpful. Programs like your Atal Innovation Mission at Niti Aayog or Startup India at Invest India. These are something very, very important. This creates a very, very conducive environment. And to give you a little more perspective, I think by 2025, the number of startups in India is expected to cross almost about 100K and creating more than 4 million jobs in the process. And the funding that the Indian startups are likely to receive is going to increase to over $150 billion, and the value creation is going to exceed or it's probably going to be in the region anywhere between 500 billion and a trillion. So those are really, really big and promising numbers. So that's the way we, at least I see, and that's what I understand, that's how things are looking up. So it makes even more sense for large companies, and it's not that this is something that has been looked at just by Intense or IBM. If you look at every major corporate worth its salt, they have a startup program, whether it's a bank, whether it's a government institution, or whether it's a telecom service provider. Everybody has now started having a startup program where they nurture startups and kind of try to ensure that they take advantage of the agility, and they lend to those startups the size that they have and collaborate with them. And so agility and size, they work together and they create a new ecosystem. So to conclude, I'd like to say that we really don't have to do everything by ourselves, right? Ecosystems, collaborations, partnerships, that's the way we should work. And this is the hallmark of the digital era. And I think future success is going to be defined definitely by partnerships. That's what my view is.
Amazing. So, Ravi, what are your views on the future of Indian startups and AI ecosystem?
Like Afaq mentioned, this is really positive, and this is going to be shining. And I always say that history repeats itself, but in a different form. Many years back, we saw the ecosystem evolution really happen in the manufacturing sector. What I'm talking about is large automobile giants actually going out and really going and developing the ancillary units. That is how you had those manufacturing hubs getting set up. The startup programs which Afaq was alluding to is just one of the things that is happening, which is like a history repeating itself in the new digital form, right? And we will see a whole lot of things coming up which will make sure that this ecosystem really grows, right? Because it is not one's need and the other one's business opportunity, but it is the need of both the sides that is going to keep refueling the overall journey for the enterprises and the startups. If you ask me, I am really, really bullish about the future of startup ecosystem in India.
I guess after listening to both of you, what I would like to conclude is the possibilities with AI are endless, and enterprises will become efficient, intelligent, and cost effective. Now, undoubtedly, the digital revolution and AI will advance to a point where it will offer real world benefits to every business, be it large or small. Now, Mark Zuckerberg says that we are working on AI because we think more intelligent services will be much more useful for you to use. So, AI is relevant because of its immense power to deliver useful solutions. Its other building blocks include cloud computing and superfast connectivity. But if you want to take advantage of this novel technology, you will, of course, need a reliable, secure, and continuously evolving infrastructure. Well, thank you so much, Ravi and Afaq. I think it was an insightful a podcast session that we had. Plus, we have never had a podcast that we discuss on the Indian startup ecosystem and how collaboration between large and small enterprises and startups can actually help in delivering real values. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure having with you us today.
Thank you, Priya, and thank you so much, Afaq, for joining us today. You had amazing insights from the industry and the solutions.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you so much, Priya. I think this endeavor, this discussion that we had was really wonderful, and I look forward to further interactions and building on this journey.
So for our listeners, stay tuned for our more such podcasts. We are there on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Hit on those websites and listen to our endless podcasts, and plus we'll be having more such insightful podcasts for you soon. Thank you so much, everyone.